thank you for inviting me to see The Last Tourist a few weeks ago.
Thank you.
It's a
Thanks for
really
coming.
excellent movie and felt so timely as we come out of the pandemic. I'm, very worried that when we come out of the pandemic, we're going to go back to the way things were.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the issues that you had in your film, of all of them, what are you most concerned about, and how do you think we can make change stick this time? How can we learn from everything that we've seen and read and understood during the pandemic?
I don't even know if we have to learn, because, the way travel is going to be for the foreseeable future is going to be different. I think we've all come to the realization that COVID is not going away. The pandemic will change to endemic at some point, and we're going to have to learn to live with, coronavirus in existence. So I think that inherent risk and our desire is going to outweigh our desire to travel, right? Because I believe we have a carnal kind of need and desire to travel. A vast majority of us do. We have this need to explore, and there's only so much. There will only take so much of being in our own communities, and we want to venture out of those communities. And so I think that if there's inherent risk, it has to be important to you, and I think that's what we need in travel. The travel is important to people. It's meaningful. It's purposeful. And that's, I think, what we lacked just prior to the pandemic, when people were more interested in entertainment or amenities. When they decided, and the destination wasn't irrelevant. The destination was irrelevant, sorry. And so I think that it's going to change naturally, when people, in order to travel now, there's inherent risk. And so it has to be more meaningful for you to go. And I think that that's what we need. I think travel should be a privilege. It shouldn't be your right. And I think and heading out of the pandemic, it's not for everybody, but just more and more people will be thinking, why do I want to travel? Why do I need to travel? And if I'm going to travel, I want to be connected. There has to be a reason why I want to go somewhere. And being connected to the destination is the most important thing that we could give, the most important gift we can give the travel industry and give ourselves.
Yeah. And obviously I'm representing women, who I think are the most powerful influencers in travel.
They're everything. They're everything in influencing travel.
What do you think the role of women is? Is it the same as everybody, or do women play a special role? Is there something more we should be doing as women?
Women, there's nothing more that women have to do except be more, just own their role in travel. Women run the travel industry, unfortunately not in the leadership side, but 60% of the travel industry it doesn't translate to leadership. So that's a problem that we have in the travel industry, but 60% of the industry is run by women. So those are the decision makers. Those are the people actually doing the work. And so that's the first thing that's important. And then in the home, in the majority of couples, women plan the holidays, make the decisions, or have the final say, whatever it is. In 85% of relationships, women make that choice. So what more power do you need? But women just have to, embrace that power and lean into it, because they're really making all the decisions on travel, in families. When they travel, like when you have children, and when you start traveling with those children, that's all the decision of women. Some people will travel with their children when they're 1 and 2. Some want to wait till they're 11 or 12. All those decisions are made by women. And then, and even in couples with no children, it's women are deciding where to go, where to book, how to book it, style of travel, class of service, whatever. And so I don't know how much more powerful women could be in the travel industry. I just don't think that collectively women kind of embrace that power and lean into it as a collective force.
So if you had to give, there were a lot of tips at the end of your movie about things we can do differently. You talked about changing your mindset. Volunteerism was another area that came up, tipping, all of those things combined. What do you think, if you had to say there are 3 things that you can do right out of the gate that would make a difference when you travel?
Well, there's things you can do before and after. The first thing is about being curious. We're taught to be curious in every aspect of our lives. And some of the smartest people are the most curious people, and you should be that curious about asking questions when you book travel, and just being curious about where your money's going, where the money's flowing, like making sure local people benefit. All the information is there. You just have to be a bit more curious and less unconscious, because they make it easy for you by selling you a package, and you just kind of say, okay, well, I'm just going to buy that package. But those packages often don't match your values, and you should match your values. So that's the next thing, about understanding your values and aligning your values with on how you travel. Because it doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense to live a certain way at home, but suspend those values when you go on vacation because you're in another country. I've never understood that. I've been on the soapbox for 30 years, which you mentioned, and I've never understood how people can say, well, I live this way and at home, but when I go down the country, I can suspend all those beliefs and just do whatever I want.
And go on a cruise.
Or compound resorts where you're consuming mass amounts of natural resources when just outside those walls, people don't have access to clean drinking water or medical care. And so and sustainability, like we're recycling at home, we're using low watt light bulbs and low flush toilets and 100-mile diets and organic. We're doing all these things, but we should embody those values when we leave and go into other countries. And the last thing is, these are all just very subtle things about mindset. This is what I mentioned before about a privilege. Privilege, travel is a privilege. And there's very few people on this planet every day that can just wake up one day and say, I'm tired, I've been working hard, I want to go on vacation. You don't realize how few people on the planet have that privilege, because you work hard, but you have disposable income, you have vacation time, you have no responsibility. You can find care for your pets and your kids or whatever it is, responsibilities. Because you have the ability and the privilege to make that decision, understand the power you have and don't take it for granted. And too many people think travel is their right. I work hard, I'm going to buy these services, I'm buying these amenities, I read about my thread counts on sheets and the types of restaurants I'm going to have, the style of food. And when I go, I have this mindset of demanding service. I want you to make me feel like I never left home. Give me all the comforts that I have at home, and make it feel like as comfortable as I can be, and not feel like I ever left home. And that's the weirdest thing, and everything that travel should not be. You should actually feel like you're leaving comfort and you're going to explore and learn how other people live in the world. And then you'll have that transformational experience of appreciating where you come from, but through the eyes of cultural exchange and appreciating and also benefiting local communities, and having a two-way travel experience, as opposed to saying, I paid for this, I demand this service, it's my right to pay for a luxury holiday, and you serve me when you go in the country, and you do everything to make me feel like I never left home. It's the weirdest thing in the world that exists today in travelers, because we've become tourists and we've lost our ability to explore. And so changing that mindset about the privilege of travel, as opposed to your right, is just changing that mindset when you decide you want to travel will change the world and change you.
Be a traveler, not a tourist.
Exactly.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Thank you.